One of the biggest questions we get as being world travelers, full-time travelers, is what do we do about health insurance? Are we covered in the United States? What countries are we not covered in? What do we do? How does it work?
Yeah, I would say this is the biggest concern of a lot of people, and it doesn't necessarily just go for if you're going to be traveling. This is just you retiring early.
Right.
Like, what are those options that you have for healthcare? You know, for us from the United States, you know, that healthcare is a major cost and something that pretty much detours so many different people from retiring early.
Yeah, in most cases you can't retire early unless you do something drastic like what we're doing now.
So thankfully, we have actually, through quite a bit of research, come up with a lot of different options that you do have. Not saying that all of them are going to work for you, but hopefully one of them does work for you. Now, the very first one, and this one really does just go for if you are going to be full-time traveling, is to have a global health insurance plan.
Right.
Now, this is what Brian has.
This is what I'm on. I get covered wherever I go, whatever country I'm in. I also get covered in the United States because I have an add-on for that insurance for when I'm home. Now, prices vary on this. People always ask, how do you get it for so little? Well, my age, my health, there's a lot involved, my deductible. It's gonna go up. I can guarantee it's gonna go up the older I get. I'll have to be prepared for that, or I'll have to take a different option.
Now, one of the things Brian did mention is that he is covered in the United States. Now, this does not mean that you can live in the United States and have this health coverage. This insurance is for people who are traveling outside of the country and they come back home, come back to the United States to visit. They basically make it very clear you cannot appear to live permanently or be setting up residency again in the United States. So, you know, when we're home, we house sit. We don't have a place that we actually live or own. You know, so this works for you right now.
And we're going to leave within a few weeks. Now, if you are traveling outside the U.S. or whatever your home country is, you can get local private health insurance for whatever country that may be.
Yeah, now this is going to be for the people who say you've gotten temporary residency somewhere or even permanent residency. You then are going to be able to apply for their local insurance, which typically is very, very inexpensive, and a lot of time it's required.
Right.
You know, so if you're going to have that visa for that location, that might be one of the actual requirements, is that you're going to carry this coverage the entire time that you are there. Now, this one I found very interesting, and this is for an HSA. So if you have a health savings account through your company that you work for, and you've maybe been putting a ton of money into it over the years that you've been there, that money stays with you and you can then use it where you see fit as far as for medical costs. The cool thing about that is that you can actually use this outside of the country. Of course, there are limitations on this. You know, the one limitation that I did see is, say you were going to fill a prescription. That prescription has to be okay in the United States, legally okay in the United States, as well as the country where you're receiving it. The other kind of really key element to this one is whatever prescription you're filling has to be consumed in the country where you filled it. You cannot bring it back into the United States, even though you purchased with your health savings account.
And that also goes for any medical care you might receive. It needs to be prescribed by a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and that makes sense, you know, I mean, there are regulations and rules. I just thought that it was really cool that you could access that money, not just within the States, but that could kind of go with you to use outside of the States as well.
You can take your money with you.
Another great thing to have access to is a telemedicine. You know, this is just one of those things, doesn't matter where you are in the world, and you could then access a doctor on video chat or on the phone and just kind of go over whatever symptoms you're having. And these are usually kind of add-on features that you're going to add to whatever medical plan you might have. Some already come with it, but then some it is an additional cost.
Well, this is a big security thing. It's something that gives you a little bit of peace of mind, where you know you're going to talk to somebody that speaks your language. You don't have to go anywhere. If you don't have access to get to the hospital or get to the doctor, which doctor do you go to? How do you get there? You just get on this and talk to your doctors back home.
And I think that is just such a great feature for any of those minor things that you have going on. You might have something that you deal with on a regular basis that kind of comes up that you need to get a prescription for. So being able to just do that over the phone and not have to find a medical facility in the location that you're in and try and explain new things to a doctor just is a super easy way to do it. There's also the option of receiving local health care just wherever you're at, going in and paying out of pocket for whatever services that you need done. This might sound like, oh my gosh, I don't think I want to do that. But honestly, what we have found out is the cost to go have majority of things done is quite affordable. It's not that sticker shock like in the States where you're afraid you're going to go bankrupt.
It's reverse sticker shock.
Yeah, it is.
You go, that's it? That's all it costs? You know, I mentioned my health insurance earlier. I have a $3,500 deductible. All the health care I've gotten outside of the country of the United States, that includes a colonoscopy, it includes my tooth, medical checkups. None of that out of pocket would have even have reached my deductible.
Not even
One
close.
of those things would have reached my deductible in the United States, with the exception of maybe the colonoscopy, but I would have had insurance at the time through my job. But you understand what I'm saying. It's very affordable.
It is. You know, we've had a few things we've had done. We've gone and had, we got all of our shots for some of our travels we were going to be doing in Southeast Asia and Croatia. And, you know, and it was probably, I don't know, at least a third of the cost we would have paid at home. We just paid out of pocket for that. I've had dental work done. I'm actually just heading back to Turkey here in about a week to go finish that dental work up. You know, it was, as an example, this process was going to cost me about $780 compared to easily about $4,500 at home. And that's the low end. I guarantee it probably would have been higher than $4,500 because something always seems to go wrong.
They would have found something, oh yeah, we had to do this.
Yeah, and then we also had medical checkups. You mentioned the colonoscopy, but we had full medical checkups, and that included like EKG, ultrasounds,
blood tests,
X-rays, everything. And mine, it included mammogram. And mine
brain scan.
You did not. But we had mine was about $280, and I can't remember what yours was.
I think mine was a little bit more than that, and then I did the old add-on colonoscopy, which was $800, which was kind of a gut shot at the time. But I needed to do it.
Yeah, so I think the point of sharing all of those costs with you is that you're not going to have that same sticker shock that you have probably where you are from, especially if that is in the States, to be able to just go maybe have some of that medical care done outside of the States while you're just traveling.
And my colonoscopy went great. I have no problems. I don't have to go back for 10 years.
Yeah, you got the
I know you're
bill of health
wondering.
for 10 years.
I know you're wondering. Medical evacuation and repatriation insurance. Now, this is for you to get Medevac to facilities that more suit your needs, whatever your needs might be.
Yeah, because sometimes you find yourself, say you're in a country where the medical care isn't that great, something happens. This is that insurance coverage you want so that you can get to the next location. And this one just gets you, say, to the next location, to a better hospital that's going to be able to take care of you. Now, the repatriate is going to actually get you back to your home country. This is in the case where you have a very serious illness comes on or injury, something that's I guess probably a lot more life-threatening long-term. And so, you know, a lot of people are very nervous about being in another country and having something go wrong and they can't get home. So this insurance coverage, I would say, is a good one to have because it's going to cost a lot if you have the option then of medevacing yourself back to the States.
Right, and all these insurance plans, obviously, the more you get, the more it's going to cost. But in the long run, it might be worth it.
Now, the next one we're going to talk about is probably the one that will interest people the most and one that a lot of people may not think about. And this is the ACA, so the Affordable Care Act insurance plans. Now, a lot of people wouldn't maybe think that they would qualify for this. And I will tell you, you might be surprised. If anything, you may pay a lot less than what you were thinking you were going to have to pay on this because it's a sliding scale. So if you are retired and you are drawing money and say, like us, you're not getting any funds coming in from anywhere else yet, it only is going to be based off of what the amount of money that you're spending that year or taking out of your accounts, you know. So it really can surprise you, and I think it's a really great option for a lot of people to look into.
Now this is one you're on.
So I'm actually on one a little different, and the reason that I mention ACA is because we live in the state of Washington, so they have their own, and there's some other states that also have their own. But where you want to go is you want to go to apply for the ACA. If your state has a different option, it will lead you to the other one to apply on that site. So you'll know. It won't be, you don't have to kind of go figure it out yourself, so they'll let you know.
And so the reason why I'm paying attention so intently is because I'm on a global plan, like we discussed, and I just got on that plan because at the time we started traveling, I needed health insurance. I did these global plan research, and this is the one I came up with, and it just renews every year automatically. Well, this year it's going to be up in September, so I'm looking to do some new research on what Carrie's talking about right now.
Well, and I started on the same global plan.
Yes.
We both started on the same one. And then I found that this was available and was such a great option. And I just think it's one of those, I've mentioned it to people, and it's not something a lot of people are aware of, or like I said, they just think they're not going to qualify for it because maybe you have a bunch of money in the bank or you own a home or whatever. It doesn't go off of that. It really just goes off whatever money is coming in that year that you are using to live off of. So you might be surprised. Check it out.
So now if you have insurance through your work, or you have the ASA, is that right? ASA? ACA. See, I still have to research this. ACA, you're still gonna wanna get Safety Wing. It's a travel insurance that's gonna take care of any emergencies that you might come across.
Now we mentioned Safety Wing simply because that's the one that I use, and I'm very happy with them for multiple reasons. But this is gonna cover you for any of the days that you are out of the States. And what I love about this specific coverage is that I can start it the day that I'm leaving, it can stop the day I'm coming home. So I'm not paying for any additional days that I'm not gonna be using. And then I just really like their coverage, you know, but it is one of those that's just covering you for medical emergencies. So if you get hurt while you're traveling or something specific comes up while you're traveling, it even includes some emergency dental if something were to happen. You know, it had also includes on there, because it is a travel insurance, if you were to lose luggage, you know, travel interruption, stuff like that.
Yeah, if there's a hurricane or something and your plans get changed, it's going to cover you for that as well.
Now, one note I would add with the, say, ACA, or maybe you have another medical plan that you have coverage, even, or if you have Medicare, those plans sometimes do cover you for specific things outside of the country, but there are very specific rules to these. So make sure you're looking into your plan, what exactly it's going to cover. I was just listening to a podcast recently, and it was talking about, like, for people on a cruise, it comes down to the defining of how many miles you have to be away from the United States, like, for it to be covered or not covered. So, you know, you really want to look into your plan to make sure what's going to be covered. Don't just risk it and jump and go. So when doing a lot of research on this video and kind of coming up with a lot of, not coming up with, but digging deeper into a lot of these options, I was pretty excited about that there are options to cover you that are affordable, and kind of remove some of that fear level that a lot of people have of how am I going to be able to afford medical coverage. Because if you just go look at a regular plan, you know, you are looking upward of $700, $800, $900 per person to just cover yourself and pay out of pocket for that plan.
Right, and you know, for our demographics, the people that are watching our video, we're 45 years and up for the most part. It is a concern. It's a concern for us. We want to make sure we're covered. We want to make sure we get a backup plan. Carrie gets that Safety Wing. I'm going to do some research of my own, and I'm probably going to end up doing the same thing. So make sure you're covered. The nice thing is there's options. There are options, and we're excited to kind of hear from you as well of what you have found, what's working for you. Maybe you have applied to the ACA and that has worked for you. Other people would love to hear that and kind of your experience. So please share that information down in the just comments below, because we kind of all can help each other out with this one, because it is a huge topic right now. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, join our community. All right, we'll catch you next time. Cheers.